Certainly fun watching this one. Kirk Cousins, just one of the Redskins' notable free agents. He joins teammates Deshaun Jackson and Pierre Garçon as Washington players who need new deals in 2017. Cousins has spent all 5 seasons with the Skins and was selected to his first Pro Bowl last year. Now, it wouldn't be a NFL free agency without the Washington Redskins getting lots of attention. Our John Keim covers the team for us. John, the biggest story, of course, is Kirk Cousins. The Redskins general manager, he's not talking to the media, but what's the latest on the Skins negotiations with Cousins?
Well, I think negotiations is actually the wrong word, because that would imply that there are any talks going on, and there aren't any talks really going on. So the deadline, March 1st, to get the tag on him, that's what's going to happen. Barring some sort of last-minute miracle where the Redskins make a dramatic offer and Cousins agrees, it will be on he'll be playing here on the tag if he's here. Then the deadline, Dianna, becomes July 15th, when they have to then negotiate a long-term deal, or that's it for the season. I think there's 3 things to keep in mind here. One, Cousins does like playing here, does like the guys he plays with, does like Jay Gruden's offense. 2, the Redskins do like him, but there's always a yeah, but. They like him clearly to a point, because they haven't been willing to go to the financial point that Cousins would like him to. And then 3, Cousins has the leverage, because let's say he gets tagged this year. That's $24 million. That would be $44 million over 2 years that he would have made guaranteed money. And then, barring him being franchise tagged next year or even a transition tag, he would then become a free agent, and he could cash in big time if he has another good year. So he has leverage. He doesn't have to sign for what the Redskins want. He can be patient and sign for what he and his agent want.
Yeah, the ball's in Cousins' court, and you know what else he likes? Money, as they all like. Redskins' #1 wideout, Deshaun Jackson, who we also know loves money, is set to hit the free agent market. Now, when he came to Washington 3 years ago, D.C. basically did absolutely everything they could to get him there. How badly do the Redskins want him now?
Oh, boy. You know, I think how badly. I think there's definitely been there's a little bit of a split here in the organization as far as to which guy they'd rather have back, Deshaun Jackson or Pierre Garçon. We can get to him in a minute. But as far as Deshaun Jackson goes, I mean, they love his speed because he's still a home run hitter. And I think, you know, so they'd like to have that back. But I don't know that they view it as paying $10+ million per year, which may be his price tag on the open market. He caught 56 passes this year. He only had, I think it was 4 or 5 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards. He does scare teams, opposing defenses, but I think when you look at his overall game, you're going to pay that much. He just turned 30, hasn't shown signs of slowing down, but he is 30, he is smaller. And then you look at the overall game, it's like he's not a guy who's going to block. He's not going to do some other things that other receivers might do. So are you willing to spend that much to get him? Is he consistent enough in every game to warrant that kind of a payday? So I think those are all the factors that go into it. Plus, I think he really wants to hit the open market. He's been talking about this for a little while, and I think you can see the difference between he and Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins right now is being silent. Deshaun Jackson is really kind of paving the way for him to go out and have a big payday. Talks about the Eagles, talks about wanting to come back here. You hear the Bucs name, Tampa Bay, they'll be involved in this possibly. So he's going to have a lot of options. I think once he gets to the market, it may be tough for him to come back here just because of the price tag he may get.
Yeah, that's true. John, I feel like he's doing this whole media tour, right? Every team that interviews him or he talks with, he's like, yeah, we'd love to play with you. He wants to get that big contract as well. He's 30 years old. Pierre Garçon is 30 years old. He spent 5 seasons in Washington. He's going to hit the free agency market on March 9th. What are you hearing about Pierre's future?
Well, I think just like Deshaun Jackson, first of all, you go back to Cousins, too. There haven't been any talks with these receivers. So right now, you look at it and say, I don't see him coming back. I do think, though, that there is a value that they put on what Garçon adds. Toughness, consistency. He's a guy who's going to do everything you ask him to do, pretty much. And I think there's a value in that. And I know that, when Scott McCloughan talks about guys, he says he's a football player. And that means for him, it's toughness, it's character and all that. Well, that's what Garçon is. He's a guy who's respected in the locker room for that reason. So I think there's a chance he could come back. No offer has been made. There hasn't been any communication between the two sides. So, again, he's a guy who will draw multiple suitors on the open market. So I think for that reason, if he hits the market, I think it's going to be hard for him to come back here just because I think he's going to get a pretty good deal elsewhere, could possibly get a good deal elsewhere. Not going to give any sort of discount here. Does like playing with Kirk Cousins, so we'll see if that matters. But he's going to get a good deal. So I think, right now you're looking at possibly both those guys being gone. I think of the two, I'd say there's probably a better chance that Garcon returns, but I don't think it's definite either way for any of this.
And I remember, too, John, former Redskins offensive coordinator Sean McVay, now the Rams head coach, was a big fan of Pierre Garcon. So I'm interested to see if maybe those two reconnect. But as you said, it's going to be interesting to see